The question is, how do you feel about the Wayfinding project? Is it money well spent?
That's a great question. It really is. And I've got Doug Traub right now just staring me down about that project. He's right there. He can grab me at any moment. The whole idea behind wayfinding is not signs. The whole idea about wayfinding is to encourage people to stay a little longer in our community, to understand where things are, maybe understand that there's something that they can do that they didn't know. An example that I heard the other day was somebody that went to Santa Barbara, saw the sign to the Santa Barbara mission, and they thought, oh, didn't know that there was a mission here, stayed an extra day, spent a little money. Now, having said that, I voted no. And I, as all of you know, I'm a financial guy. I look at numbers. I look at all numbers all day, way more than I really should be. But I try to evaluate it, because what I did was I said, okay, I understand the quality of life issues there. I understand that you're trying to attract new businesses, or excuse me, tourists to stay a little longer and that sort of thing. But I'm going to just do a simple math calculation, because if somebody comes to me like you and says, well, why would you have wayfinding and spend 500 or 600,000? If the math makes sense, then I can explain it. But for me, and I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, the math didn't make sense. For instance, $500,000, your money, I said, how much in retail sale activity from the Wayfinding project would we need to get that $500,000 back? Take 500,000, you divide it by 0.02, our sales tax, it's 25 million bucks. And so I felt that while it was possible, it was too long a period, and I couldn't, in my own mind, using my core values, justify it. So I decided to vote no. I certainly understand the arguments for it. Interestingly enough, ADOT has agreed to actually have Lake Havasu City be a test case for all of the state of Arizona. So from one standpoint, I do hope I'm wrong. Because if it generates $50 million in new retail sales activity, boy, I voted the wrong way. But I just couldn't see it. And maybe through all of the programs and forums that they're going to have for our citizens, we'll be able to hone those numbers down and get a better sense as to exactly where we're at in that investment. And for me, I think also just educating all of us as to exactly why it's important. ASU did decide to put in $24,000 toward that project. I will say, I think we need a sign for ASU. I was shocked that we don't have a sign for ASU, and we couldn't get one until ADOT changed their rules on wayfinding. They said there wasn't enough enrollment. And I thought they had like 50,000 students, but granted, they're not all here, but so yet. But anyway, I think that's really where I boiled down to, is that I decided that I just couldn't justify the number, so I voted no on Tuesday. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, please.
Same question.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to ask Mayor Nixon.
Actually, just to make sure that you're directing the response to me and not to the other candidates, please.
I'm wondering, to you, I'm wondering, did that pass? Did we get the $500,000 for signs? I'm wondering what we could have spent that $500,000 on. I'll get to that in my closing statement, my vision of what we should be doing around here. I guess I'm kind of old-fashioned. I like maps. You know, I'm good at reading maps. I can be driving along halfway across the country, glance down at the seat, and know exactly which route I need to take. I don't understand this GPS, you know, and all the rest of this nonsense. I heard some guy talking about how he's going to follow his GPS to a concert from the San Fernando Valley where he lived out to somewhere in the LA Basin, he wasn't going to look at a map. He was going to follow his GPS. It's like, well, I hope it doesn't take you right through Watts, you know? I don't understand that stuff. As far as the signs, I don't particularly like signs. I mentioned to the mayor 3-4 years ago, Mr. Mayor, my wife and I like to drive down to Site 6 and park in front of the, you know, where you see the view of the dock, across the lake to California. But there's a problem. We got those big dome LHC ordinance signs right in your face when you're trying to see the view. And they're every 12 to 20 feet. There's several of them. You know, don't take bottles on the beach, blah, blah, blah. Right in the middle of the view. Who came up with that? I mean, think about it. One of the nicest views in the area. Let's slap a sign right in their face, you know? Oh, that's a good one. Yes, sir. You know? Whatever, whoever came up with that, I don't know, that is ridiculous. I see this big guy here, he's not too happy with me. He's in charge of this or something. Okay, sorry, I cannot go for this wayfinding sign thing. We couldn't find the London Bridge for a few minutes. We looked around a little, there it was. You know, the main drag goes right over it. You know, what is this? Everybody stupid? Why can't we have points of interest maps that are handed out all over? What do we got to spend $500,000 for on this? Sorry, can't buy that one. Thumbs down on that one. Too bad they passed it. Maybe that's why I'm running for mayor, you know? This kind of nonsense.
A major study of the city's Main Street commercial district did result in a report by a nationally recognized team of architects, guys and gals that design entire cities. And they produced a report called RUDAT, R/UDAT. And among the findings were several suggestions for improving signs and direction for residents and visitors alike. And I thought it made sense. I thought it'd be a good investment. And I assumed that it would happen in increments. Some money budgeted that year, some money budgeted the next year. But what has emerged, especially from the social media, is a lot of harsh criticism of the current project, and it may simply be a part of the fact that wayfinding is a term used by marketing people, an inside description of some sophisticated way of going about doing signs and directions. And maybe that's a part of it. Maybe the average voter doesn't understand the significance of the term, doesn't want to understand it. But I also recognize that the amount of money being allocated all in one budget year, I think when the first was $750,000, and I don't know where the CVB is getting all that. Ask the city for $500,000. Of course, the CVB is totally city funded, so it's all our tax money anyway. I don't know that I've paid that much attention to where all the dollars are coming, but for sure, there are a lot of critical emails, a lot of critical postings on various Orchids and Onions pages, and I think a part of it is just a reflection of the political crazy season. A part of it is a competition for budgeted dollars. A part of it comes from people who are extremely upset over HAT not being funded in the way that some people wanted, and this money perhaps was competing for those kinds of dollars. Maybe a little more tactful approach, maybe use of words like signs and directions rather than wayfinding might have said a little better with some of the more critical citizens who are particularly concerned with how the city is spending money in an election year. And that all gets kind of crazy. So I think, all in all, I support the concept of improved signage. I'm certainly disappointed we don't have signs up for ASU. There's one for NAU, which has one room and an MCC building, and they do distance learning, which is correspondence types courses, so it's not a real university campus at all. We've got some room for improvement there, but I think maybe it's not going to happen now, but having backed off that a little bit, budgeted a little bit differently, a little bit this year, a little bit next year, and there would be no big fight over it.